Oh, there we go. All right, welcome everybody. Today's Lunch and Learn is about Google Meet, which is what we're in right now. I think we all have experience now of probably starting Google Meets. Yeah, I'm definitely joining Google Meets because here you are. But I wanted to go over some security things about Google Meets because I know that's a concern, and some kind of new updates in Google Meet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to share my screen. Present. This one. Okay, so you should be looking at me in another Google Meets. Is that correct? Is that what you're seeing? Okay, let me change my view so I can. Yes. Okay, perfect, because I wanted to show you what it looks like when you're in a Google Meet. So here I am in a Google Meet. But before you get here, there are some security things that you should know about. So when you create a Google Meet in Google Calendar, the downside of that is those links never die. And so some of you have experienced that. You notice that students are rejoining later, or they're staying on and hanging out, and they have a good old time, and they party together. And I think I mentioned yesterday that I got a couple invites from third graders a couple weeks ago, so to join their little private meeting. So they figured out real fast that these links don't die and that they can go in there anytime they want. Students cannot create their own Google Meets and start their own meeting, but they figured out real quickly how to get around that. So the best way there's two ways to prevent that from happening. And the first way is you go into your grid and you go to Meet, or you type in meet.google.com. And if you start a meeting and you give it a nickname, then when that meeting dies, only meetings with nicknames do this. When that meeting dies, then they can't get in there again. So this is sort of a new feature for Google, is as long as it has nicknames, but it kind of prevents you from like scheduling a meeting. And you can do it in Calendar, like it'll walk you through how to do it in Calendar. But the thing with the calendar links is they don't die, and it's a real pain in the butt. The newest feature, which is really nice, is in Google Classroom. So some of you joined my Google Classroom yesterday where I went over it, and I'm just going to go into my class today to show you that feature. You can enable to have a meeting link show up right on your Google Classroom, so that's there all the time. So if you tell your students, we're going to meet every Tuesday at 9 a.m., all they have to do is go into Google Classroom at 9 a.m. and click that link. So it's never lost in their email or buried down, or if they don't know how to get to their calendar to click the calendar link, it is there. And the good thing about this is students can't join the meeting unless you're in it. So they won't let them join it until you have joined it, for one. That was the downside of any of the other Google Meets links, is students can join way before you. And also the link goes dead about 5 minutes after the last person leaves the meeting. So I always recommend you always be the last person to leave a meeting. Wait until they're gone, then you close the meeting out. And there's a little bit of a lag. It's about 5 minutes before that link goes completely dead, but then it'll go dead and they can't join that meeting again. So that's another way. And the way to do that is when you go into your class, you go up to this little wheel up here. And this is all your class settings. And you go down to where it says Meet. And you just make sure this thing is toggled on, visible to students so that they can see it. And when you don't want them to see it, you just toggle it off. It's real simple. Toggle on, and then you save. So that is that. Then we're going to come in here. So I just wanted to go over real quick. I've had some people ask about how to present their screen. So that's what I'm doing right now. And so here I am in a Google Meet, and I'm pretending there's other people in here. You click this button down here, Present Now, and it gives you two options, your entire screen or a window. So a window is like your Google Chrome window, or entire screen is everything on your computer screen, even you know, your icons on your desktop. So I usually like to do entire screen because sometimes if I'm doing a demo and there's another window that pops up, it doesn't get shown in that demo. It kind of gets cut out, but you always have to be mindful what other tabs you have open and what's behind your things, and you know, just make sure you clean it up a little bit. So if you do like entire screen, I have two options because I have two screens actually. I have my screen on my laptop, and I have a second monitor. I like to work with two monitors. And if you have the opportunity to work with two monitors, it is a wonderful thing. So much easier to do because you can see two different things at the same time. So I work with two monitors. So it's asking me, well, which screen do you want? And you just choose the screen you want, and then you hit the share button and it's shared. I'm not going to share it again because I'm already sharing once with you guys. So that's how you would share. Oh, I have a question. When putting it in Google Classroom, does the Google Meet repeat weekly, or do you have to redo each time? It stays there for as long as you want it to stay there. So if I go in here, this link stays the same. It's not attached to time or date or anything like that. It's just a link that is part of your Google Classroom. That's it. You can, however, like change it. There's a button here to reset it. Or you can just copy it and email it to kids, but I don't really know I guess if the link, I'm not sure what the benefit of resetting it is, especially if the link goes dead after the first 5 minutes of leaving a meeting. So if you just leave it, you should be fine. The kids just go there every time and use it. So it becomes live again when the teacher, so Gianna asked, but you said it goes dead after everyone leaves. So how does it become live again? Right. So it becomes live again when the teacher rejoins that meeting. Yeah. So you're the only one that can make it live again. Okay. So I am in this meeting, and we also have turn on closed captions. So that's an option for anyone that may be hard of hearing, or you know, maybe they want to follow along but they don't have headphones. Oh, it's not turning on, is it? Oh, I can't do it because I have myself muted. If I unmute it, it'll be crazy, weird sounds. But anyone could turn on your own closed captions. It doesn't turn it on for everybody. It only turns it on for you. And you can see what's being written on this. You can see down at the bottom here, it'll be typing down here. To record a meeting, you have this button up here. So I went into these three dots. You have up here, record a meeting, which is what I did to start this meeting. So you can record any meeting you meet. You know, I often, especially if you're teaching something, I recommend it so that you can send it to the kids afterwards and they can watch it again. It's also a good way to security for yourself. So you never want to be accused of anything inappropriate. You can record meetings. And then there's a few other settings here depending on your preference. Okay, so I'm going to go now to up top here. We have, you notice there's something called grid view. I am using grid view right now so I can see all of your faces. If you can't see everyone, you are probably not in grid view. And the way you do it, so if you're not in grid view, it looks like the waffle with the slash through it. But if you can click on it again, and it gives you all these options, you know, only show participants with video, highlight speakers, include yourself. enable grid view by default, and this is a new one, enable screen capture mode. This is new. This showed up yesterday, so I haven't tried that yet. But then you should be able to see everyone, like in sort of like a Brady Bunch style tile. The people thing is how many people are in your chat. So in this Google Meet, so I'm in 2 different Google Meets just so I can screen share with you. I'm the only one, but you could see other people. You could add people here, and then you have your chat window. So this is where people are sending me questions, and I can answer them in there. So that's fun. So the grid view is a new extension. It's been pushed out to all of us, even our students. And then over here, we have another extension called Google Nod that was pushed out to all of you as well. So you should see you have a bunch of little emojis, and you can get more apparently. So I could do like, I'll do it on my screen, thumbs up. So if you do a thumbs up, you do it as well. And then there's a hand raised feature as well. So let's say you're in a large group like this, and you have everyone muted, but someone has a question, and they notice that you maybe you're not monitoring the chat box. Maybe they can raise their hand, and the hand raise will stay there until you exit it out, and you can tell that person you answered their question. So that's also really handy to have for students. And then looks like you can change a bunch of little settings here. And then over here, well, you are looking at the wrong screen. So I have the thumbs up, the hand view. So over here, so I'm going into an old meeting. This was from yesterday, just so I knew that people wouldn't be in it. But it tells you like the meeting details. So this was from the calendar. This was the join info. So let's say you need to like copy that and send it off to someone, you can. And then if there were any attachments attached to that meeting in Google Calendar, they would show up here. So like, let's say if you have running meeting notes, and you have a reoccurring Google Calendar event for your PLC group, and you want the meeting notes attached to that so that everybody can get to it really, really easily, you can add that, and it'll show up here as well. I see there's another question. Okay, Kayla asked, do students have grid view even if they aren't using a school computer? Yes. So it's an extension, and they go into, when they log in, well, yes, they do. They have to make sure they're logged into the browser. So if you are not seeing grid view and you're not seeing Nod, that means you're not logged into the browser. And the way you log into the browser, you see I have my face here. That means I am logged in with my GRCSU to the browser. And that means all of my extensions are connected to that counter here, all of my bookmarks that are connected to that account are here. And so you can just log in. You may not see anything if you're not logged in. You can click there. And then I have a whole bunch because I have a lot of accounts. And you can click, I have to go to the bottom here, add. So you would add yourself there. You would log in with your account, and then you would sync your stuff with that so you can get logged in. Nancy asks, if I record a meeting, can I share it later with students who missed that session? Yes, you can. So when you record a meeting, when it's done processing, it will actually send you an email, which is really nice, and let you know the meeting that you recorded is done processing, and then it saves it in your Google Drive in a folder, I think, called Meet Recordings. And you could just grab the link and send it to them. So that's what I do. I just let me know when it's done processing, and I grab that link and that video, and then I download it and put it into the YouTube channel. Let's see, I think I got pretty much everything else. Does anybody have any other questions? No? Oh, Mike has his hand raised. Mike.
Yeah, so it's it's a question that I posed to you yesterday, and you did answer me, but I just don't remember how to do it. So if we did a meeting the traditional way, as going into calendar and setting up that way, the students get notices of when it's happening, like 10 minutes ahead of time, they click on that link. Well, can you tell us how to disenable that so that the students, because I have it in Google Classroom right now, I have that link for
Yep.
my meeting, but
Yep.
I also sent out in calendar a reminder to them. So can you show us how to?
Yep.
So they're not going to be able to go into the calendar to get it that way. Thank you.
No, that's a good question, Mike. So,
Yeah,
yeah, Mike liked the idea that the kids could get like a notification through Google Calendar when the meeting's about to happen. And so the workaround I told him, I said, well, let's copy the link here. So here's my class, right? I'm going to copy this link. And then I'm going to go into my calendar. And let's say I'm going to make a new calendar event. This is when my meeting is. And I'm going to go to more options just so I can see more. Okay, so my meeting. And what it does here, so you want to make sure, don't click make it a Zoom meeting and don't add conferencing. Maybe it's automatically adds conferencing to you. So if you see that it's added this already, you don't want that because that'll confuse your students. You can just exit, remove conference, and it goes like that. So there's nothing for them to click on. And then what I like to do is have them click here to join meeting and then paste the classroom meeting in there in the notes section. So now when you save that and you add your guests, so you're going to add your students there or whoever you want, save, it'll go to their Google Calendar, it'll send them notices, and in the notes they have a link to join that meeting. Does that make sense? Okay, so Kayla asks, is there a waiting room in Meets like in Zoom? Not, well, kind of if you're doing it through Google Classroom. That is the only way to prevent students from joining before you join is to go through Google Classroom and create a link, like this link here. All right, so students won't be able to join that. Let's see. Can I cancel all of my recurring meetings in calendar and then set it up in Google Classroom? So Nancy, what I would do, I'm going to exit out of here, discard. I would do, okay, I'm going to do it with this one. I'm going to edit. So I have this reoccurring meeting, right? I'm going to pretend I had a meeting set up. I would just exit that out and then paste the link in the notes and hit save, and it'll ask me, do you want to edit just this event? Do you want to edit this event and the following events, or do you want to edit all? So either one of these two would work. And then you hit OK. And there we go. Now you don't have to make a whole new meeting. You just put the link in a different spot and you remove that old one. Jenny showed me yesterday how to use the whiteboard, but I forgot how. Is that Google Meet or Zoom? It is Zoom. However, I'm going to show you guys something really cool. Jamboard.google.com. So you can hop on a Google Meet with a student and you can enable Google Jamboard. So it's jamboard.google.com. And this is a whiteboarding thing. So you could be talking with the student through Google Meet and hearing each other. And then you can start a Jamboard. So I'm going to start one. Here's my Jamboard. I'm going to do it. Maybe you can put the student's name or my jam. I'll put it that. And this is like a whiteboard. So you have a pen you can draw in color. You have the eraser. You have, wait, I don't know what the pointer does. Weird. Oh, wait, I'll show you what the pointer does. And then you have these sticky notes, which I really like. Move this note. So I'm going to save it. And they have these sticky notes. cancel. And now I can grab it and move it around. But the cool thing about this is I can share this Jamboard. So I can type in someone's name down here, make sure they can edit, not just view, edit, send it to them, and now they can be on the jam with me. So there's 2 of us on here. So you could set it up where maybe they have to move, you know, you have a whole bunch of sight words or sounds or whatever, and the words are down here and they have to move it into the different categories or things like that for elementary. So this is really, I know some SPED teachers are using this to work one-on-one with their students. So they kind of get on Google Meet so that they can talk to each other, and then they're both on their Jamboard at the same time. Janet asks, so if you have a daily, weekly Google Meet with a class, then you can schedule that in the calendar. I guess the question is how do you set up a reoccurring meeting? Oh, yeah. So let me show you that too. Oh, this is fun. I like this. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me go back. All right, so here I am in my calendar, right? Let's say I have a reoccurring meeting every Tuesday. I'm just going to put it here at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to go into the more options. My weekly meeting. You would add your guests here, so they're all in there. And then what you do is up here, so you have your date and your time, and then it automatically says does not repeat, but you want it to repeat. So you could have it repeat weekly on Tuesday. Oh yeah, that's what I want, weekly on Tuesday. So it'll repeat this for you weekly on Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. And there's a whole bunch of other options. Let's say you want it to be Tuesday and Thursday. So you go into, I'll show you, I went into custom. And I check Tuesdays and Thursdays. I want it to repeat every week, or maybe you want to do a Tuesday every other week. Then you would do Tuesday. I want it to repeat every 2 weeks, or Tuesday and Thursday, and it never ends. So it's just always on your calendar on those dates. Or if you know, like, well, school ends at, you know, whatever, we don't really know yet, June, let's say 19th, then you can have it done. So it's not clogging up your calendar for forever and ever and ever. You can always delete it whenever you want as well too. And then you click done. And then I click save. I'm going to do every 1 week so I can show you what that looks like. Done. Save. So now I have my, you see it's right there, right there. And then if I go into the next week, there it is again. And so what you could have done, I'll go back. That is in the notes is where I would make sure these are off if you're going to use Google Classroom link, and then paste the link in here. There you do that. Can you set up Jamboard ahead of time so you don't have to stop and set up? Yes, you can. You can set up Jamboard ahead of time. So you can set up ahead of time. I know a SPED teacher that's doing that. She's kind of have a Jamboard for each student that she works with. And then when it's time for their time to work on it together, they just kind of go into the Jamboard together. And you can create Jamboards right in your Google Drive as well. Let me show you that. That's kind of cool. So if you know you have certain folders for certain classes or students, you can go into that folder first, and then you click New, More, and then you'll see Jamboard is here. So it lives in your Google Drive as well. And then let's see, Zach asked, if you reset the link, does it cancel the meet if a student doesn't leave? So all of the links go dead about 5 minutes. So this is what we've been told, 5 minutes after the last person through Google Classroom. This is specifically Google Classroom, I think you're asking, right, Zach? So they go dead 5 minutes, within 5 minutes after the last person leaves. So that's why we say you make sure you're the last one to leave. Because I don't know if they can hang out in there for as long as they want without you in it or not. That's unclear to me at this point. So just make sure you're the last one to leave, and then they shouldn't be able to rejoin that link within that 5-minute period. I don't know why there's such a lag, but there is a lag, we've discovered. Okay, so we are almost done. Do we have any other questions? Let me see. I'll see you guys. There we go. No other questions?
Erica?
Yeah.
Can you just explain one more time how to add the Jamboard to when you're in a meeting
So
with the student?
so you would,
I don't
yep,
see that.
Yep. So if you're in, you're in it. Are you in a Jamboard right now? Let me share my screen again.
Yes, I have one open.
Okay. So if you, where am I? Here we go. Share. Okay. So here I am in my Jamboard, right? So are you looking at kind of? Here it comes. All right. Are you looking at what I'm looking at? And then you go to share, the share button up in the top right-hand corner there. And then you're going to want to type the student's email address down where it says invite.
Student's name. Okay.
Yeah, and just make sure it's can edit is checked. Otherwise,
they can edit it.
Manipulate it. They'll only be able to see it, which maybe that's what you want, but it's up to you. If you want them to manipulate it with you, then make sure they can edit. And then you send and an email notification that they can join that Jamboard. Yeah.
And then they open it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you so much for attending again. Oh, wait, Claire has her hand raised. Claire, go ahead.
Yeah. When you're doing a presentation and you have a screen up, do you set the screen up ahead of time?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to show a slide presentation or something, I have that up available, and then I can get to it somehow.
Yeah. So
I wasn't really sure how to get to it.
You see how I have I just make sure, like, I'll be in my meeting right here, right? And let's say I want to show them this. I just make sure I have it open in another tab so I can click right over and then they can see it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing with using two screens is when you're only using one screen. So I'm in the meeting and then I present my screen and then I click into the tab I want to work with my students on. You can't see them. So, which is kind of a bummer. In Zoom, you would see like a little, like, their little faces kind of over here. But in Meet, you can't see them at all. So with two screens, though, I can have this tab. I can have my Meet on my computer screen, say, and then this tab on my other monitor. And so I can still see them and see what I'm working on. And that's what I'm doing with you guys right now, is I can see all of you on my computer monitor, and I can see what I'm sharing on my secondary computer screen. It's just a computer monitor. Okay, Kayla asks, if I start a meeting in Google Meets instead of Calendar, how do I invite people? So yeah, good question. So if I go to my Google Meet, join or start a meeting, my fancy meeting. Oh, I also discovered too, if this happened weirdly, someone else and I were testing out Google Meet and we just said, test meeting, but we were doing it at the exact same time and we hit like start at the exact same time and we ended up in the exact same meeting. So make sure it's a little unique. Continue. Here, I'm going to join my third meeting of the day. You have to unfortunately join your own meeting first. So here I am. And then it gives you the info to copy. So you can see here, copy info, or you can just copy the link, and then, or you can add people here. So you can either email it to them or add people here. Okay. I'm gonna go out of there. All right. One last question. Let's see. If I have a touch screen and I'm using Jamboard, is there something I can use as a stylus to move or control? Yeah. So if you have a touch screen, you probably could just use your finger. But if you get a stylus, you could probably use that too. You might have a little more control if you buy a stylus. Touchscreens are a lot more fun then, because it's kind of hard to like scribble on the Jamboard with your mouse or write on the Jamboard with your mouse. So that's the only struggle. Oh, you can also upload images. So if you want them to look at a picture, you want to put pictures up here, you can do that easily. And then, oh, this is like you circle it. So you want them to see a certain spot, you can like that. So it's kind of like a little laser pointer type thing. Let's see. Zach writes, Apple stylus for iPads or other stylus for other touch screens. Yeah. Yep. You can use, you know, styluses are pretty cheap. You can probably order a bunch online. Yeah. Claire, was this, do you have another question, or did I forget to delete your raised hand? Nope. Okay. Awesome. I think we are going to call it now. I think that is it, but feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk further about any of this. And I am available, so just send me an email. All right. Have a good afternoon.